over 300 years of experience. So a lot of our top leaders at NuRepublic have been in their industry for some time now, whether that's in the insurance space, the taxes, the lending, or even the credit, whether that be business or personal. So when you come to a NuRepublic function, or even when you get trained by one of our staff members, you're receiving a ton of actual expertise that has went into that training course, that has went into that document, so forth and so on. And take note of this. You have two different paths with NuRepublic. You have a career path, and then you have an ownership path. Essentially, everyone coming in is on the career path. This is what you actually start with and what you can grow into the ownership path. We don't like putting limits, putting a cap on any of our agents here. So we want you to grow into your own business. We want you to grow into an agency owner, which we'll talk about further. Something you should also take note of. So I believe these are based off the 2015 tax statistics. Over $300 billion was refunded in tax refunds, which is a lot of money. And if you do the math, you'll see that over 75 million of those returns were actually processed by tax preparers. If you do this equation all the way down, you'll see that a little bit over 1,100 tax returns, if it was equal, would be allotted to every single tax preparer. What that tells us is that there's too many tax returns for one actual tax preparer, which is why we are here. There's a need for more agents. There's a need for people who know what they're doing, especially when you have more and more tax credits and more tax rules coming up in the system. Now, who's familiar with the old insurance agent who would come and actually sit down at the kitchen table with mom and dad and sell them on insurance, by a show of hands? Okay. NuRepublic takes on that same type of model. So we want to service all of our agents, all of our clients at a very broad spectrum. So we don't just do taxes. We do, like I said, insurance, lending, credit. So when we're able to actually go down, sit at the kitchen table with mom and dad, we're not only able to service that individual, but we're able to service the entire family that is in there. Most times you may have two different families in that same household that we're able to actually service. Now, here what we depict is multi-streams of income. So as you know, our main portion that we're focusing on right now is tax season. So in tax season, we say that on average, you'll be making at least $70K. Now, this is a lump sum of cash in a very short period of time. Typically, tax season will last you about 4 months. Now, what we also highlight is some of our other products, like our new cards, which provides residual income. Now, here you can make roughly $60K. And then you have New Care, which we'll get into that further, which is essentially our health benefits membership, where you can provide 40K, or excuse me, make 40K. Now, who is familiar with the updates on open enrollment and with the health status here in America today, by show of hands? Does anyone know how much you will actually be penalized if you do not have health insurance? For an adult, anyone?
300.
Roughly for an adult, $715. For each dependent you have underneath you, $400. So for a single mom that has 2 children, she's looking at being penalized roughly $1,100 just for not having health insurance. What we're able to do is actually provide the single mother with an option to where she's not penalized and where she does not have to pay anything out of pocket to get or receive those benefits. A lot of times, as you can see with our products, we want to make it meet them where they're at. So if we know our clientele, we know the underserved community may not have the resources to actually take advantage of some of our products, we want to make it affordable. We want to make it where it's a low entry point for them to actually receive that. And then the last point we go over here is the Boss Junior, which is amongst some of our other new cards that we actually rolled out the past couple months. And here you can see that you'll make roughly $20K. Now what we go over is the single focus versus the quarterly focus. So as you all know, the first quarter is tax season, which is what's happening right now. And then the next season you have credit. So essentially where everyone is actually trying to apply for a new home, they're trying to get a car, they're trying to get their credit in order. So we'll help them with that. The third quarter is where you have Boss Junior. Now Boss Junior is essentially a youth entrepreneurship school. So we're going over and teaching the youth how to start their business from the ground up. We're teaching them all types of business. So not just, say for instance, they're interested in the entertainment industry. We're going to teach them about the business that is involved with the entertainment industry. By show of hands, does anyone know anyone who has actually participated in the entertainment industry but does not know anything about the business behind it? Many times for people in our community, that's the situation. So a lot of times they won't get the correct percentages that they're supposed to actually get. They won't sign the correct contracts, simply based off of not knowing something. We like to be in the know, and we like to provide them with that financial literacy that they need to know. Now the next quarter you have, like we spoke about, is the Boss Junior, and then the next is the New Care. Remember, the main focus during these seasons, of course we sell all of these products throughout the entirety of the year, but the main focus, like for tax time, we're not too much focused on credit or Boss Junior during this time. Because remember, tax time is very important for us. Everybody is trying to get, millions and billions of people are trying to actually get their taxes prepared in this small 4-month window. And as we stated before, that's looking at over 1,000 tax returns per individual. So you really have to take advantage of that short time space. Now, at NuRepublic, we have a very aggressive compensation. By show of hands, who has actually worked at a previous tax company before? Okay. Now, ma'am, what tax company did you work for?
Jackson Hewitt.
Jackson Hewitt. Okay, and on average, how many tax returns would you say you completed in a day? About 6. And if you don't mind me asking, how much would you say you were making an hour?
$10.
$10. Perfect. So, on an 8-hour day, $10 an hour, she's making on an average $80 that day. Now, is there anyone else that has actually prepared taxes for another company here? Ma'am in the back. How many returns would you say you did on an average day? Okay, she said 10 or 15. So we'll take the 6 or the 15, and we'll say on average they're completing actually 10 returns that day. So the same individual that's working at, you say Jackson Hewitt? She's making that $80 a day just for completing one tax return with NuRepublic. We pay you $90 for that. So essentially, in the matter of how much or how long would you say it took you to complete a tax return?
About 30 minutes.
About 30 minutes. So in that 30-minute time period, she's made more than what she has actually made in a whole 8-hour day at another tax company. If NuRepublic is actually growing and expanding, we want our agents and our agency owners to do the same. We like to share the wealth. Now, by show of hands, who actually wants to become a 6-figure earner? I should see y'all. All right, so we just say on an active level of doing 5 tax returns a day, so very similar to what you said you were doing, you're making $450 that day, $10,000 that month. For being aggressive, like the other young lady, you're doing 10 tax returns that day, $900 a day, and roughly $21,000 that month. For being determined, that's 15 tax returns a day. You're doing roughly $1,300 in one day and $32,000 in 1 month. How does that sound for everybody? Most people that enter in the tax business, they enter into it because they hear that you can make a ton of money. Is that correct? Because remember, everybody is actually getting their taxes done. It's not as if we're selling a service that is not required. They say, well, does anyone know the saying of the 2 things that you will always have to go through in life? Die and paying your taxes. Correct. So when we actually are able to capitalize off that industry and change that industry is major. Now, those were the figures just off of tax preparation alone. Now, these are going over some of the ancillary products that are actually built into our tax software that you're able to offer your clients without paying anything out of pocket. So for our audit protection, it actually helps an individual that may be audited by the IRS so they can get up to $10,000 in attorney or legal fees. Now, the cost for that individual is only $59. Now, added with that, off of all these additional products we'll go over, you're making an additional $10 or $159. Now, as we said, that six-figure income was going off of $90 for one tax return. Now, say for instance, and at the very conclusion of this, we'll go over a calculator to see exactly how much money you want to make and how many returns you need to be doing on average to make that amount of money. Now, as you can see, you're making an additional $159 off of selling either the personal or the business credit. So couple that with your $90 for a tax return, you may be making upwards $300 sitting down with one client, which, as we stated before, is maybe 4 times what an average individual is making in a day. Now, this is something you want to write down. So for completing one tax return, essentially we call this our corporate loyalty. Now, if you work at Prada, they may not want you in the Prada store wearing Gucci. They want you to promote their brand. At NuRepublic, we don't want to see you down the street at Jackson Hewitt getting your taxes done when you work for a tax company. So preferably, you want to actually do your own tax return. We walk you through how to do it, how to actually get the correct credits and the correct deductions you qualify for. Now, for completing 5 tax returns with the company, you actually receive a 3-day, 2-night Bahamas cruise. I don't think everybody heard me. So after completing 5 tax returns, you get a 3-day, 2-night Bahamas cruise. How many people are excited about that?
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody's going to Bahamas on our team. Everybody.
Yes, that's a good idea. Okay, after completing 50 tax returns, you actually go on the NuRepublic cruise. Now, the NuRepublic cruise is where all of our top earners that complete 50 returns or more go on that cruise. Now, typically we make this cruise in April or May, and we have a lot of fun. We've been going on it for the past maybe 6 years now, and everybody enjoys when they go on that cruise, especially after tax season. You get to unwind, so forth and so on. Now, how many people, by show of hands, are ambitious in here? How many people have an aspiration of owning their own agency at some point? Now, after completing 100 tax returns, can you refresh that? Okay. After completing 100 tax returns, you actually get your own standard agency. So just completing 100 tax returns, you now are an agency owner, and you start receiving agency owner compensation, which is much more than those figures that we spoke about before. Now, by doing 10 tax returns a day, how long is it going to take you to become an agency owner? 10 days. Just 10 days. Like we said at the very beginning, we want to make it practical. We want to meet everyone where they're at. We want the entire company of NuRepublic and its family members to actually expand and grow. Now, after completing 300 tax returns, you actually get a Chevy Spark. Woo. Wow. Now, it's not the most extravagant vehicle. However,
it's free. It's free. It's free.
It's great on gas, and it allows you instant mobile ability to actually be able to get to your clientele, get to where you need to go. I'm sorry?
Is that cab yours?
Yes, it's yours.
We have to pay taxes.
Okay, so go ahead and write this down also. How the money works. Now, this is going specifically over the tax return, and it's very important that you take note of this because you will have a ton of clients asking you how this process works, even though they know exactly how it works. But you must be able to know how it works also. Now, once we actually submit the tax return and an acknowledgement comes back, whether it's either accepted or rejected. Now, sometimes if it's rejected, it may be because you misspelled the name or you put an incorrect digit for the social. All you have to do is go back in, correct it, and resubmit it. So after it's accepted, then it actually gets funded by the IRS. So typically it may take 7 to 21 days for their tax return to get funded. After that point, then you are paid bi-weekly on a Friday. So typically whatever will fund up into this whole week and then the following week, cutting off on a Sunday, you'll be paid that following Friday for all of that. Now, here's an example of some of our new cards. Nancy, are you able to pass maybe a couple down each row so everyone can take a look at this? Now, this is a line of product that we came out with maybe 2 or 3 months ago, and a lot of them have been very successful. We kind of went over the Boss Junior product a little bit, but what this allows for, and really in the technology space is what we're pushing. What we like to call it is a disruptor. Is anyone familiar with what a disruptor is? Yeah. So some examples of a disruptor is Uber, Airbnb. What they do is they come into an industry and they disrupt it completely based off of technology, based off of a number of things. NuRepublic is the equivalent of that in the accounting and the financial service space. We don't just take the same old approach with things. All of NuRepublic's technology, all of the updates that we make are so that we can be the top in our leading actual industry. So when we came out with these products, we wanted an instant deliverable. We wanted a client to be able to purchase one of these cards. They actually activate the card and have instant access to all of their benefits right then and there. There is no email trail that has to take place. There is no phone calls. They get their immediate product immediately. Whether they chose to actually activate it right now, whether they chose to gift it to someone, whether they chose to activate it in the future. They have access to all of it immediately. Now, tax season is the secret weapon, if you haven't noticed already. On average, at NuRepublic, we get our clients an average of $1,000 to $2,000 more than what they got back last year. We don't do simple data entry. So we're not just going to take their W-2, take their 1099, and actually enter it into the system. We're going to see what credits, what deductions they actually qualify for. We want to maximize their experience and see exactly how we can help them directly. It also allows for this individual to reinvest all of that large refund back into their financial wellness. So when you're getting a client $8,000 to $10,000 on a tax return, you need to direct them on what to do with those funds. Many people in here know people who will get a $10,000, $12,000 tax refund, and within the matter of a week, 2 weeks, it's completely gone. And you won't even understand what they spent it on. You won't even see in any of the items that they may have purchased. We have to take initiative and actually not even force, but we have to educate all of the community exactly what they should be doing. Because again, they're not even prone to be financially literate. It's not something that they even value. It's not a norm in our community. And our goal is to actually make that a norm again. Now also what you can do with the tax season is building up your client base. So outside of tax season, remember all these clients you can funnel into all of the additional products you can service them with. Practicality. We spoke about this before. Now we meet customers where they're at. Has anyone heard of a satellite location before? Okay. Essentially what a satellite location is, we will actually partner with a previous or a business within the community so that we can funnel the big refunds and those dollars back into that community. So on average, you may see it with a Walmart. They'll partner with a Jackson Hewitt. You'll see their tax booths located in that facility. How many people find it more convenient to, while you're shopping, get your taxes done? Or while you're getting your check cashed, getting your taxes done immediately? So now you don't have to go out of the way to another facility to actually get it done. So on top of all of our brick and mortar and retail locations, we also have satellite locations where we partner with businesses in the community. Also, as we said, a disruptor. Many people aren't familiar with, or some people are, with doing mobile tax preparation. A lot of times people want you to meet them where they are at. I don't know if anyone is familiar with the phone repair companies, but now they'll actually come to your house, repair your phone for you, and leave. So now you never have to leave the comfort of your home. We take on that same approach of actually going out. So we'll meet an individual at one of our satellite locations, or we'll meet them at a Starbucks, and we're actually able to service that client where they're at, so it's more convenient for them. Now, this is very important. Go ahead and write this down. NuRepublic is the first tax company to ever offer anything called W Refund. So if you ever see it anywhere else, in which you will, remember it came from NuRepublic first. We've already had many people trying to duplicate it and they can't. Our Green Dot even attempted to do it. W Refund is essentially where we're able to offer our clientele one of these 5 or 6 products, so they can actually get their full tax refund double. So whether that's an $8,000 tax refund, a $10,000 tax refund, they can get it double, meaning we will match whatever their tax refund is. We'll give them an additional check of that same amount. They can get it for their federal, they can get it for their state, they can get a Bahamas cruise, they can get a $100 gift card, $50 gas card, or mobile tablet, and they always walk away with something. Now, how many people that have done their taxes have had the opportunity to double their tax refund? Okay. How many people would like to?
Yes.
It's very important that we market this heavily, because when you're able to offer that to clients, they're going to come in drones for this. They're going to actually refer a ton of people just to see if they can double their, whether again that's their federal or their state. Dream big. So what we highlight here is essentially, remember everyone that you refer as an agent to join on forces with your current agency owner or your team leader. Once you now have your agency, all those people fall up underneath you. So now they are a part of your agency. So a lot of times what we see is individuals that already start building up their company, even though they don't have it quite yet. So they'll refer over a ton of agents to work for their current agency owner. And now, again, what that allows for is when they become an agency owner, they actually get a full team that has already been seasoned, that has already been trained, just by referring those individuals, which is major for those who are ambitious. Now, training. Go ahead and write this down also. We have training Monday, Monday through Friday. We have a morning class and we have an evening class. Now, this upcoming week, due to the holidays, we will be having training Monday through Wednesday, and then we will be having another boot camp Sunday. Now, we have online tax training, we have webinars, we have on-site tax training. We have a ton of training that's available for you to actually take advantage of. You can watch it at your own time. You can watch it again and again and again. We want to make sure that everyone is equipped with the correct knowledge and with the correct tools so that they can actually service their clients better. Now, everyone should have received one of these 2 sheets. If you have not, make sure you get with the person that brought you in at the conclusion of this so that you can receive that. And then after I get off, we're actually going to do a breakout session in which you'll get with your team leader, get those documents, and you'll get access to the New World platform. Now in here, you're able to access the tax software, any resources, any documents, as well as all of the training. As you can see, we invest in the people. We want everyone, whether you're working for NuRepublic or not, we want everyone to be successful. We want you to grow. That is our job here at NuRepublic. And lastly, we change lives through financial literacy. So if you don't take anything away from today's presentation, make sure that at the end of the day, it is our responsibility as a community to make sure that we enlighten others on what opportunities, on what education that they have available to them. Our goal is to make sure everyone in the underserved community is financially literate. Now, does anyone have any questions over anything that I've went over thus far?
I mean, how do you double the taxes? Is that legal? That's the only thing I don't understand.
Yes. His question is, how do you double the tax refund? Is
I
it
don't
legal?
understand that.
So remember, the IRS is not paying them any additional funds.
Right.
That is NuRepublic. We are actually cutting a check for that client out of our own funds and paying them double their tax refund.
What's the criteria for them getting the double?
Good question. She said, what is that criteria? So after or even before you actually do their tax refund, they're able to go into our site. They actually can spend. So all those prizes that we listed there, they will always end up getting one of those 6 prizes when they spend the Double Your Refund wheel. I didn't hear that question.
Does it cost you money for the customer to spend?
No. His question was, does it cost for them to do that? No, it does not.
What's the training time? I know you said it was
So the training times, morning you have is 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And then in the evening time, it is 5 p.m. to 8 p.m.
And you did say they would be online as well, or?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
How long is the training?
Good question. It's your tax training you'll actually be able to complete within 1 week. Remember, at NuRepublic, we make it very simple. We make it very easy to learn, coupled with all of the technology that we have. Our goal is to make, and what we actually designed our curriculum for, is for an individual that knows nothing about taxes. At the completion of that week, you're able to fully do a complete tax return, really within the first 2 or 3 days. You're able to do a full blown out tax return, and we'll actually show you how to do that when you come out Monday and how easy it is. I seen another question over here.
It was the same.
Okay.
You said when you bring in people to referrals, when you go into your own office, do you take those same people or you get fresh people?
Repeat it one more time
You
for me.
said something about when you refer people
Uh-huh.
to that, to whatever agency, when you go into your own office, you get those same people to go with you?
Yes, so many people start building up their team now. So if I know that I want to have an agency later, all the people that I bring in, that I refer to my current agency owner to get on board, start hiring, start training. When I now get my own agency, those individuals will now be underneath my team, and I'll already have a full blown out agency. Mm-hmm. There really isn't any requirements. Honestly, it's up to the agency owner to decide if they wanted that, but many times the businesses within that community want that business because we do a rev share with them. So if I have a retail location on this side of town and say I may not want to get another retail location over here, I may actually partner with those business owners within that community, so now I can have an establishment where my clients can actually come there and get their taxes done.
But how does the income change after tax season in turn? I mean, for returns. You know, people who get back taxes done and that sort of thing. What's the stream of revenue look like? Does it, I in terms of our clients?
Good question. So her question was, what does the income and the revenue look like after tax season? Now remember, we are not just a tax company. We do full-blown on financial services. So those products that we went over before, you're offering all of those products year-round. It's not anything that is actually seasonal. Now, many people choose to just do a tax season and then vacation for the entire year, which is completely up to you. But if you choose to continue working, then you definitely have all of those products, and we're still going full blown. So we're having more trainings, we're having more boot camp orientations. You still have a full blown out service that you can actually offer outside of tax season.
For NuRepublic, what do you charge our clients for tax services today? And is it kind of competitive to H&R Block?
Good question. He said in NuRepublic, what do we actually charge for tax preparation? Now remember, that is all based off of what that client is actually getting done. So we do it based off of the worksheets or the fee schedules. So if an individual has 5 W-2s and they have 2 different 1099 jobs, of course it's going to be more expensive than if they just had 1. And then his second part of his question was if we are competitive. Yes, we are competitive, but by no means necessary do we claim to be the cheapest tax company. Because remember, we put in years and hours into actually training to see what we can get you back directly. If you just go to H&R Block, Jackson, Hewitt, Liberty Tax, you're literally just handing them your forms and they're doing data entry. They're not doing anything more. They're not asking you really any additional questions. We take our time and our effort into doing that.
Is this something that you done in other states? We're here.
Yes, good question. So we're in over 48 different markets. We're not just in Atlanta, Georgia. So yes, we have plenty of corporate locations and plenty of agency owner locations outside of Georgia.
Do you get paid the same thing for back taxes as you do the current year taxes?
Yep.
Is New Mexico one of those 48?
Not New Mexico, but let's talk afterwards so we can make that happen. Yes, ma'am.
Do you find your own clients or do you have to market?
No, ma'am, you do not. So your agency owner will actually funnel all of those into you. So whether you're at a satellite location or a retail location, you'll come in and you'll just do the clients that come in. Now, if there are no more questions, we are going to go ahead and close out into that breakout session. Again, get with the individual that brought you in. Make sure that you have, and go ahead and write this down, make sure you have all of your compliance documents. So that can be filled out online. Make sure that the person that brought you in has a copy of your ID, social, and we will be doing fingerprinting for those that need that done in the back. So again, those are all of your compliance documents that can be done online, your ID, your social, and your fingerprints. And I do appreciate everyone's time. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.